It's time for the movie rating. Tonight's victim is director Dakota Ray that is currently doing the project Dark Days of Demetrius. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about the Dark Days of Demetrius. I know this is a very dark film.
This is my sixth full-length feature film. The Dark Days of Demetrius is a very dark and nihilistic horror film about a serial killer named Demetrius, and also it features the exploits of a corrupt news reporter named Clive who fabricates the carnage that he reports about.
The audience has yet to take a taste in on because it involves two entities that may have some very, very serious issues that in terms of headline.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. It's another main theme throughout the film because basically the film is just a portrait of two people that are monsters that are obsessed with fame, and the film deals with evil, violence, and narcissism.
Did you ever have any concerns about the tone of the overall film itself?
No, I don't, because each and every one of my films is very dark and nihilistic. I have a reputation for being a very nihilistic filmmaker. My films have always been very dark, and from the feedback I received, some people have said that this is my darkest and most vile film yet. But no, I was never concerned about it because I think that the film, since it already is dealing with very ugly subject matter like serial killers and violence, it had to be dark and nihilistic.
Oh yeah, definitely, because this is something that we deal with every day, and the fact is that you're not trying to appease the audience because of these recent or past events or fantasies. This is something that this is your actual own vision that you'd like to share with everybody, and having to take this kind of art, especially the type of art form that you're doing, having to present it in your own way, it can be very challenging on some aspects.
Yeah, it can be, yeah. I always just try to stick as closely to my vision as possible.
The audience is awesome, but at the same time, you can't just go with whatever the audience specifically wants. You got to have what you want as well.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel, because with each film, I try to do something a little bit different. Like I said before, I have 6 full-length feature films, and I experiment a lot. Like my first full-length feature, My Master Satan, I shot it with a VHS camera, and the footage was degraded, and it was just a very film that didn't have very much appeal at all. But to express yourself as an artist, you just have to do what you can to just be as faithful to yourself, no matter what.
Definitely, man. As a director, and as well as an actor or anybody else that's trying to get some kind of art out there, and art doesn't have to be always happy. It doesn't always. It's an emotionless entity that can be formed into anything that you like: happy, sad, angry, pathetic, pitiful, anything that you like it to be. It all depends on how the audience wants to feel. It's almost like a mood ring, so to speak. Its own mood ring. It can be whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes.
But how long has it been taking you to get this movie completely done? And is it still on Indigo in terms of getting this out there as far as perks and stuff like that? Or do people can still back you up in some aspect?
Yeah, the film is 100% completed, and we have DVDs of it. We're shipping all the DVDs out this week to everybody. And the Indiegogo campaign will continue onward until November. As far as how long this movie took to make, it was a bit longer than my other previous full-length features. I started writing the script for this film in November 2018 after the release of my film American Antichrist. It just mainly, I spent a lot of time perfecting the storyline for this story, because this film, story-wise, is a bit more different. It's laced with social commentary instead of just supposed nihilism and just violence like my past films. I started filming it sporadically. The filming lasted from December of 2018 all the way up until August of 2019. So it's definitely the longest film that I've ever made.
Now, having to go through a vast amount of dark levels for this film, do you think making a message through this medium is often misunderstood by the audience themselves?
Definitely, to some extent. Yeah, misunderstood. But to me, it's just my art. It's just a reflection of how I feel and what I want to do in my artistic vision.
And the fact is that you put yourself into this film in this type of very dark, disturbed character, and having to go through all these very vast, dark type of thoughts, feelings, and everything above and beyond, having to do this. I mean, what's really more challenging for you? The fact is that the deeper you go, the more you discover new things on this from yourself, or do you think that the more you just get more nihilistic with this character, the better the feel of the flow of the film?
Yeah, definitely. With each film, everybody tells me that I up the level of nastiness and nihilism with each film, and I think I definitely did that with this film, The Dark Days of Demetrius. I always act in my films out of necessity. The reason why I played the main character Demetrius myself was because I felt I was the only one that could do it, and I didn't want to ask anybody else to do it anyway, because most of the time people are uncomfortable taking on such a vile or nasty character. I'm kind of used to it, but yeah, like I said, I spent a lot of time writing this film, so that I had a lot of time to think about a character and develop him and give him a backstory. To me, the character Demetrius is somebody that was abused as a child, but at the same time, in the present day, he's grown into a serial killer that's extremely narcissistic, and he kills because he feels that each life he takes adds more value to his own, if that makes any sense. Kind of perceives himself to be like a godlike being, if you will.
Sometimes satisfaction. Sometimes people are not satisfied with whatever it is that are going through their lives. Sometimes, even if they have it all, they're still not satisfied. There's always that little bit of something that they just simply can't be satisfied with unless they continue to do that one task over and over and over in order to get some kind of satisfaction. It's almost when someone, for example, likes to clean a lot, okay? They like to clean a lot, but you know what? Now they want to go move on to another project to clean something else because they feel they have to do it.
Yeah, like OCD.
Oh, definitely. So by having put yourself into this film, having gone through such a very vast, dark thing, I can see why that you didn't ask people, and I understand why that as well. Is this also the reason why it took so long for the longest project for this to, or did you automatically understand this character right as you wrote this?
Yeah, I automatically understood the character as long as I wrote it. To go back to talk about the making of this film, the first scenes that I did for this film were the character in Baphomet. Those were the first scenes I shot, the copycat serial killer. And then I shot scenes with Fred Epstein, who played Clive, the news reporter. That was filmed like between March to April 2019. And then I didn't even start doing my character Demetrius. I didn't start doing my own scenes until like June of 2019. So I kind of prolonged doing my scenes until the very end at the last minute just to try to get an overall feel for the film, which I helped give me the kind of guidance as to what I needed to do with my character, which was kind of the focal point of the film.
Oh yeah, it gives you plenty of time to prep the character as well. It's like you understand what the other character that you've already filmed with, and now that you can play with the fact that what this character is having some kind of a connection with this current character, with the reporter, but in a way, neither of them have any real connection with each other. Here are these two characters. There's something that they want the most. There's something that they want to control the most. And at the same time, neither one of them wants anybody to get in their way regardless of what happens or when will it happen.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And like I said, a main theme that I was exploring in this film is narcissism. You could say that Demetrius is a narcissist and that Clive, the news reporter, is definitely narcissist, and they're driven by their egos and the need to attain stardom and fame. But the only way they can attain notoriety is through their crimes and violence.
Definitely. And how do you stay in tune between reality and a person's emotional construct?
This is interesting because every time I make a film, everybody around me says that my mood kind of becomes more hostile, and I guess it is right. My life is pretty stable outside of filmmaking, but every time I go to make a film, I try to push people and just make a darker atmosphere around everybody. You know, whether it be through substances or sleep deprivation, whatever I can to change the mood into something darker. Because I'm not always making films. When I am making a film, the environment needs to be hostile and dark.
Well, it's like a transformation, okay? Outside filmmaking, you know who you are. People that have spoken to you know who you are, and to a degree. And then you go to filmmaking, it's almost like a stuntman. When you ask a stuntman to go through a wall, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to go through that wall automatically. No thoughts, no doubts, no nothing, or anything in general. You just do it, boom, and that's pretty much how, like, the mood of this film, how it sees. You know exactly what you want. You know exactly how it's going to be felt, and you act on cue.
Yeah, that's exactly right, yeah. And this film, I will say, it definitely did have a bit more of an uncomfortable atmosphere, especially with my characters, because as I said before, it was about a lot of sleep deprivation and use of substances to just try to get the mood very hostile.
Having to film more extreme areas of emotion, especially, what would you describe being a risk and being at risk?
When I go to make a film, like I said, I have to change the atmosphere kind of. So, I mean, I'm able to, once the filming is done, I can pretty easily transition back to my normal self, if that's what you mean. So I never associate any risk or anything with it.
Yeah, in terms of performance, it's usually a risk in terms of, being stuck in that character for a vast amount of time, or having to be at risk due to what people are going to say about this after the film is done, or when it's shipped out to other areas in the United States or even other countries, how reaction becomes tainted, and not in a good way. It's just like there's so many different kinds of risks involved in terms of filming this particular type of a genre or type of medium or of art itself.
Yeah, that is true, yeah. Like some of my past films, a lot of that have been around a lot. Some of my films, like 50,000 people have seen, and there is some misunderstanding. But usually for me, about getting stuck in the characters, I mean, that can happen occasionally where it's hard to distinguish it. But, usually once the film is over for me, then it's kind of like the end of a chapter for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. It's like when you look into the mirror and you separate, you make the room, the whole room mirrors. And it's all just you. You're looking at yourself in all these mirrors, and they're all different angles, different ups, downs, different perception, and you're performing this character from all different angles in every aspect. And this is your audience. In a way, this is your own audience, and this is how this makes you feel, how you want to protract that.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
When can we expect this again in terms of with this film as well as your other films? And are your other films out as well that we can check out right now?
Yeah, I have Dark Days of Demetrius. It will probably be on Amazon Prime and the Kings of War YouTube channel probably by the end of this year. My other 5 films are available on the Kings of War YouTube channel and Amazon Prime as well. My previous films include American Antichrist, The Rise and Fall of an American Scumbag, The Acid Sorcerer, American Scumbags, and My Master Satan, 3 Tales of Drug-Fueled Violence. And those films are, like I said before, they're readily available on YouTube or Amazon Prime for free.
Oh, that's very cool. Is there any other websites that you would like to share as well and related to these projects, or anything else that you might be working on right now?
If you Google Dakota Ray Filmmaker, all the sites will come up. I have a WordPress site, which is Dakota Ray Ari Productions, and my Facebook page, Dakota Ray Ari Productions.
Well, that's very cool, man. I look forward to seeing the rest of these movies out there as soon as I ever get time, but definitely you guys check it out. That is director Dakota Ray.